Hey guys, welcome to our 7th installment for the series, our very first game. Go ahead and open up your project that you've got going on. Today we're going to be creating a door that will open when you touch it and you have a key, and that will complete the level. So let's go into our sprites here and create a new sprite. Right click, create sprite. And we're going to make this 32 by 32, which would be the same size as our wall. So change that, unless yours is already 32 by 32. We're going to name this S door. Go ahead and edit the image. So this will be unique. I don't want it to just look like a door. It's going to be a closed door or a locked door. And then once you touch it, it's going to animate open. And it'll just kind of look really neat. So go ahead and for your first frame, we want a closed door. So I'm going to make it gray, maybe this gray here. You can make it whatever gray you want. I've grabbed the biggest circle brush over here, and I'm just going to do something like, not like that, like this. And I'm going to fill it in so it's kind of a semicircle at the top. It's hard to see because of the gray. Maybe I'll use a little bit lighter of a gray, or darker, sorry. A little bit, oh, hey, there's a dark gray. So a nice dark gray. And you know what? No, I lied. It's black. It's a black door. We're going to do bars instead. I think bars would be cooler. So grab your another square brush tool, and let's create some lines. I hit the L button for my lines, and then just go ahead and make some bars going down. This one will have to be 3 wide, I think. So just go ahead and artistically create your bars on the door. I'm just going to do half of them here. Then I'm going to use my magic wand tool, which is the W key. And then I'm going to click it and hold Control. Click at this one, hold Control still, click this one. Now I've got all 3 highlighted. I hit Control C to copy. Go down to your mirror brush tool, flip it around, and paste it right there. So that kind of looks a little silly. I'm just going to move this bar over one, this bar over one, and then just fix it. So your door should look something like that. So that's your closed door. Down here on your right side here, you've got a layer folder. Go ahead and make a new layer. Right click, add a layer. There we go. I didn't click hard enough. So once you've added that layer, this is just going to be the lock on the door. I'll do it right here. And you can make your lock however you want. I'm just going to make it look like this. So it looks like this door is locked. And then I'll draw a little black keyhole here. Does that look like a keyhole? No, maybe it doesn't need a keyhole. That's fine. We've got a lock there. Now I'm going to, now that we've got a door with our bars and a lock, that lock is on the second frame. So you can move that, or sorry, the second layer. You can move that layer around. I'm just going to copy this frame, paste it up at the top here. And the second frame, I'm going to erase a little bit of the lock. What does a lock do when you unlock it? I'm actually just going to go like this. I think this is what a lock would do. Pops up like that, and then the third, I'm going to make another frame here, and I'm going to make it go up one more time, and then copy that. I'm going to make the lock do a little hop, just like that. Copy this frame, paste it, and this is just basically doing a super simple animation. So unlock, pop, up, and then it'll hang in the air for one frame, then down, 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 and down. And then you can do with it whatever you want. I'm just going to erase it. And maybe we'll do a little white puff of smoke for it. Grab a gray color, a white gray. And where was it? Right here. So go like that. This is just a very basic animation. Grab that. Move it. And paste another one here. And paste another one. I'll move them up, out, out, and one more right there. So it'll like, so it goes up and falls down, poof. And then these will be gone. I'll just kind of make them that. This next frame, and this seems super, I think I'm overkilling it here. But there we go. Now we've got our lock gone, and this door now is going to start to open. If you go down to your layers again, we can now just draw over these bars from the bottom up. This. There we go. And then copy that and just continue until those bars are gone. And again, I'm sorry, this is kind of just overkill here. But you'll have a really cool animation, and it's a little bit of the insight into how you would animate in the game that you're going to create. So what does that look like? And then it opens up. Almost done. We'll just do one more frame here. And just make sure your frames are in the right order. And that's good enough for me. There and there. So there's kind of a super long-winded look at making a door. You can see, run it. I'm going to go to my workspace and just change the FPS here to something that's not ridiculous, like 5. Go to your, actually in the workspace we can look at it too. And hold control and you can zoom out of it. So just go ahead and hit the play button. And that looks pretty good. But I think it looks slow, so let's do 10. 10 should be good. Pop and open. Oh, and again, I got my frames all out of whack here. Back to your images. That last frame we should move over. There we go. Okay, so now that we've finished drawing, we're going to go back to our asset browser, And you can make your door way simpler, but I would recommend just a few frames. The first frame being locked, the last frame being completely open. Create a new object. We're going to call it ODoor. And drag your sprite over there. My mouse is not working. So now we've got our door object, and we can go to our rooms folder, go into room game, and let's just put our door in there. So now we've got a door. Let's go back to our door object, hit F12 to get it all out of the way, and add event. We're going to add the create event, and this is where we're just going to init our object. So init object. First thing you want to do is turn off the animation speed because it wants to be locked. We don't want it running through that animation. So image speed equals 0. And that is all we really need for now in the door. Now let's go to the player. So we could do this. Go to add event, collision, objects, door, and what we're going to say is open door for our description, and we'll write right here other.image speed equals 1 semicolon. Now I want to see if this works. So run it. So what that's saying is that when we touch the door, the image speed should start and it'll run through the animation. I just want to make sure that that collision event works because we've placed that door on a wall object, which means we might not be able to get to it. So let's just avoid those fireballs, walk over here, and yeah, so that's what I thought would happen. But what we could do is, and this would be a pretty quick fix, nice and easy for just bumping into an object, go to that ODoor sprite. We're going to go to S-door. Let's change the collision mask to be, we're going to change it to manual, and let's drag, and that might be the problem too. And I don't know if it's 2.3 that's doing this, but all these images seem to be putting my collision mask at the top. But maybe that's just because I've hit manual. So this would be encompassing the whole object. Let's just tick it down 1 extra pixel and then exit that sprite. I'm going to clear all my objects here and I'm going to hit play. This should hopefully pop the door open as soon as we touch it. Once it decides to run, here we go. So now we're going to run over here, we're going to touch the door, and it popped open. So that's just, that it works now, but now we've got to make sure it knows we have a key. And what did I do in our player? So let's go to our player. I think I had commented something out, our coin counter there, when I had to redo a video there. So we've got coins. We've got, so our collision with the door. So we don't want this always happening when we touch it. We only want it happening when we've got a key. So we'll type in if global.key greater than 1 or greater than 0. Put some brackets around it. And another bracket there and tab it over. So now it's saying if our global key variable is greater than 0. So if it was 0, it wouldn't trigger, but if it's any number higher than 0, obviously we've got a key. Other.image speed equals 1. So now it will only trigger if we've got a key. Now go to ODoor, and we're going to do a really cool event called the animation end, or the end animation event. So go to add events. You'll find it in the other section, and do animation end. So we're going to call this stop animation, and it's super simple. this event is only going to trigger, so the code is only going to be run once that animation has come to its complete end. So animation end here, I'm going to put image speed equals 0. So we're going to cut the animation off or make it stop so it doesn't reset. And then image index equals image number minus 1. So that one is a new one. Image number is the number of images within the sprite. So this sprite here for S-Door, this sprite has 19 images in it. And current frame being 1, that's your image number. So we have 19. So what that means is once, there's my door, once the animation ends, it's going to say, okay, what do I do now? It's going to stop the animation, and it's going to put the image index, the frame, to be the very last image number. So image number being the number of images in total, which would be 19. But because image index starts at a 0, image number is the actual number of frames, we have to subtract 1 because 19 would be pointing to a frame that doesn't exist. So it would be 19 minus 1, which is the 18th image index, because it starts 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 19, where image number starts counting the number of images at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to the end. So hopefully that makes sense. That's kind of confusing, but image number minus 1 is going to be the last frame. Now let's go back to the player who is colliding. And now if global key greater than 0 isn't just going to cut it now, because what's going to happen is it's going to hit it, trigger it, and then once it realizes it's the animation is at the end, it's going to end the animation, but we're still touching it, so it's going to turn the image speed back on. So we don't want that. So if global key is greater than 0 and image index, other dot image index equals 0. So that means if it's on the first frame, that means the door is shut and locked, and we have a key, then animate it. So if that animation had already run, it's on the last frame, it's not going to animate. And then let's take away the key. Global.key minus minus. There. So this should function properly. I broke my mouse. It's not clicking good. Here we go. So this should work very well. Now I can't, well, let's just check first off if it runs when I just touch it. No, it does not, which is expected. Let's grab that key and not die. Now when I go up to that door, in my leg portion where my collision box is, when that touches the door, it should trigger the opening, and you should see the key subtract. So there we go. And now the door opens and it's on the last frame, and now that I've run into it again, it's not re-triggering. 1, because we don't have a key, and 2, because that image index is now the last image, rather than image index equals 0, which is required to trigger the door. So there you have the door opening, a cool little animation. Dead. Well, what we can do is we're going to create a controller object for the room, which sounds complicated, but it is very not complicated. Because when the player dies, what happens is, because all of the things are being drawn within the player, if the player dies, you won't see how many keys you've got. You won't see how many coins you've got. So let's just do something. I do this pretty much in every game I make where a room needs, things drawn to it. So create a new object. This is very quick and should be pretty simple. Object. We're going to name this object O-C-O-N-T for controller, game room. Now we're going to go back to our room game and just drag that controller object right up here out of the screen because it doesn't really matter. Now go to your player object and the draw GUI event. You can copy it, right click, copy, or cut it because we're getting rid of it anyway. So I'm just going to cut it, cut, and now we're going to go to our O-control game room object and we're going to paste it. So that's telling us it's going to draw the GUI event now in that controller object. So when our player dies, it's still going to tell us how many keys we have, how many coins we have, and that way it just looks better than if we were to die and the whole screen kind of just gets screwed up. So I'll show you this functioning properly now, and then that'll be it. Go for a little walk, try to get the key, and so it tells us we've got a key here. We've got 0 coins up at the top because now that's not linked inside the player, which was just destroyed by a fireball. So that's it for this episode here. In the next episode, we're going to be transitioning into the next room. When we open the door, there's going to be a little victory word that pops down, and then it'll say press enter to continue. And that should be it. Yeah, so room 2, we'll make level 2. Maybe we'll spruce up level 1 a little bit to make it look cool. And then we'll go to room 2, and then we're getting close to almost having a complete game that you can play and you can mess around with where all the placement is and what everything looks like. So that'll be exciting. But until next time, see you then. Thanks. Goodbye.